Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Unfiltered Women podcast. I have a guest today, and I haven't done a guest yet since we did the podcast revamp, and I am so fucking excited for this one. I have Jaime Hawryluk. I can't even, Jamie, say your name.
Hawryluk, you
Thanks,
got it,
girl.
girl.
On today, and I've worked with her in business for a while, but what we're talking about today has nothing to do with business, and it has everything to do with her being a hospice nurse. And since I've known Jamie, I mean, Jamie, you can talk about this too, but you have done a 180 on from who I met to who you are now. I've never watched somebody step into who they actually are so quickly. And like I know from my journey, I was a struggle, and I just watched you be like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna be myself." Here you
Well,
were.
I think I was waiting for the permission, but we'll get into that. Yeah, I think I was just like, I needed just someone say, go for it, girl. And that was you. And I was like, okay, sounds good. I'm good now.
Best, and now we're obviously really good friends. And what I love about Jamie is that she has this perspective on life that nobody else has. And I think it weighed on you for a little bit. Like you didn't really talk about it. And I was like, we need to hear about this because you have a perspective where you hear people's dying regrets, their last words, their last moments every single day. And it gives you this life perspective of like, you want to strangle people who are sleepwalking through their life. So go ahead, give us a little introduction on you and kind of also like how you came to be a hospice nurse.
Oh, okay. And the whole thing is really wild, to be really honest with you. But yeah, I've been a nurse for, gosh, almost 11 years now. And I started actually in psychiatry. And then I moved my way into like med surge. And that is where I kind of, it also was a palliative floor as well at the time. And that was kind of like my first experience with, kind of death and dying outside of school. And I loved it. Like I was just like, this is weird. Like I'm not supposed to, like, are people really supposed to love this? But I love this type of nursing because um, it just it was an opportunity to really give someone the utmost care and their family the utmost care
Yeah.
at the most important time of their lives, which is death, right? In my perspective. And so after all of it's kind of funny. So COVID happened. That was wild as a nurse. And then I took 2021 off as a nurse because we had moved to Kamloops. And 2022 came along, and I was like, well, I should probably go back to work. And my sister-in-law was working at a hospice, and I was like, Sarah, I think I think I kind of want to work there. So she got me hooked up. I went in for my interview. They hired me. And I instantly fell in love with like the practice of palliative care from a nursing perspective. And so what I loved is that the care that we can really give our patients and our families. And there's no rules, which I love at hospice. And anything goes. Like if you want to go see, you want some firefighters coming in for the little old ladies, the firefighters will come in and visit the little old ladies. I'm not kidding you.
I
If
love this.
you want to go sit in your like sports car, we'll get the lift. Let's go. We'll stick you in the sports car, take you for a cruise. There's literally no rules when it comes to
And
hospice.
he's like, I got hired, and all of a sudden we had firefighter Fridays.
Right? It's a thing. And it's just like it just and it's changed me. And I never knew. I didn't think that that was what's going to come when I first started. I didn't think that it was going to change like how I showed up in this world and how I raise my children and how I have relationships with people. It changed and almost at a cellular level, if you want to get that deep, because it's my experiences as a hospice nurse now change everything I believe in, whether it be spirituality or just like what we're meant to do on this time on earth. Yeah, it's changed everything for me. And I'm so grateful for that. I love my job. I go to work and I'm just like, this is amazing, right? And yeah, it feels weird because you're helping someone pass away, but there's beauty in that too.
Important
Yeah.
thing to do. As you were saying that, I literally just remembered my mom's a palliative care nurse.
Yeah.
And when my girls were little, we would go and visit her at work. And she worked at like a hospital out here, and everybody loved the little kids. They brought so much joy. And my mom would have really hard days
Mhm.
and like really good days where she's like, my favorite resident passed away, but she found so much purpose in being there with them and like holding their hands and walking them through. And she's like, I would say a prayer for them. And a lot of the times, like they would ask me to, and they didn't have people. And she's like, I kind of felt like this like angel of death,
Yeah,
but like a gateway where she's like, I think that's where I was supposed to be.
100%. Yeah.
But
This is what I was meant to be doing, 100%. Yeah.
yeah. So I want to ask you, I've structured questions because man alive, does this interest me so much. And like the passion that you speak about it with, I'm like, I get woken up and I'm like, I consider myself pretty awake. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that's right, sleeping a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about death being a teacher,
Mhm.
right? Because you're a student of death every single day. So what would you say is the most common regret that you hear at the end of life from women?
Oh, with women, it's a different hit, right? Like I see, um, unfortunately, I see women coming in their 40s and their 50s. Like lots of people think that palliative care end of life is for like the 70, 80, 90 year olds. And yes, that's true. But unfortunately, just due to, all the things, we won't get into that. You're seeing younger and younger women coming into hospice. And they have kids, and they have grandkids, and they have been the sole provider in a woman capacity for their family. Their husbands look at you like they're going to be completely lost without this woman in their life, and more so because they have been the glue of these families, right? They have been the ones that have held these families together. They've put themselves on the back burner, not taking care of themselves physically, mentally, spiritually. And so what I see is a lot of women regretting that they lived for their family and they lived for their husbands and they
Oh,
didn't live for themselves.
didn't realize that first question was going to take me out, you guys. First day of my
Right.
cycle doing this podcast is such a hard one because I remember doing this with myself. And like, I didn't have a husband at the time, but I had kids and I was like trying to squash this purpose that I felt in myself. And I
Yeah.
was like, you just have to wait. Maybe when you're 40, maybe when you're 45, you'll have time to do something for yourself. But like right now, you're essentially like a tool for service for others. And that's kind of it. So when you say that, I'm like, I know that would have been my biggest regret is being like, you sidelined yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And they chose like, and it's like whether or not they chose that or it was just something that was like kind of expected of them. Usually it's expected of them just based off society expectations of women and mothers, family pressures, just their own that mom guilt. And it's like they've stopped taking care of, not realizing that this is their life too. And
yes.
that they deserve more than anybody else to like live their life, to do the things that they want to do, to have fun. And these women are sitting there and oftentimes like, like, I wish I just did more for myself. I wish I went on that trip, or I wish I spent more time with my girlfriends. Like they miss that. They never put themselves as a priority and like what their needs and their wants as a priority. And now it's just too late. Now they're, in hospice, they're dying. They're, gonna die in a few weeks and it's all done. And they don't get another chance.
And it's like you always think there's more time. You always do.
Always.
But when I hear you say that, I'm like, damn it, give your life everything that you've got. I
Yeah.
was sitting at my husband's family's Christmas dinner like a couple of years ago, and I was really new into his family. And his grandma was there, and she has Alzheimer's. And she didn't know me, but she didn't know she didn't know me. And
Love
every,
that.
yep, love that.
Bless her. Love
And
that.
she'd kind of have this lucid moment where she would like drop imparted wisdom and it was so heavy and so sudden. It was like she'd have a moment and she would spew wisdom at me. And
Yeah.
she'd look at me and she'd go, do you have children? And I'm like, yes, I have four. And she's like, you have to travel with them. You have to do things with your kids. You have to be home. If you can work at home, work at home. And then she'd leave. And then she'd come back and be like, you need to take pictures of your life, document your
Oh,
whole life and live
yes.
it and like really, really live this time. And I was like,
Yeah.
damn, lady, like this
Yeah.
is my
Yeah.
first Christmas dinner here. You gotta freaking cool it. But at the same time, I'm like, she had all of this wisdom and she knew, like, she was looking at me in this version of my life, going, I have so much to give you. And they were from her life regrets.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like going back to like everyone thinks that they have so much time. It's like women actually think like these women that I care for, it's like oftentimes they'll be like, I just can't believe this is happening to me. I thought I had so much more time. And I have probably heard that more times than I can count because it's like we go through this life like, you know, like you look at society right now, especially just I'll say North America, like we're just fucking zombies waking up and doing the same fucking thing every single day and just like this mundane like and not knowing a clue who we are, like
Yeah.
truly who we truly fucking are, like deep to our core, and we're just robots.
Yeah.
And then boom, you get slapped with a diagnosis, a palliative diagnosis, you're given months to live, you mosey into hospice, you take your fucking last breath. Like could you, like if
I
you
know.
pull that back though, like unravel that a bit. Isn't
Mhm.
that fucking wild?
Well, when you say like we're just kind of sleepwalking through life, like I remember going into my first breathwork session. I know what to fucking expect, but I came out and realized that I was so disconnected from myself. And
Mm-hmm.
out of it, I was like, I actually don't know who the fuck I am.
Yep.
Because I got slotted into this life and it was just like, okay, now it's Groundhog Day for the rest of your life. And when
Mm-hmm.
I woke up out of that, I was like, how do I act? What do I want to do? Do I have purpose? I don't, what the fuck is going on? But I
Mm-hmm.
would rather go through that hardship, that like growth that requires so much of us, that makes us feel so lost, that ends up where I am now, than stay asleep and do that and be like, holy fuck, I slept through my life.
Yeah. And so many of these women are, and you can see the regret in their face and the uncertainty and looking at their family to make decisions on what their end of life wants to look like.
Okay, this is
As
my next question. And oh my gosh, what is the regret that shows up for most women? And how do you see that same regret alive in women who aren't dying yet? You know
it's
what
it's it's the uncertainty. It's the
I
uncertainty. And it's like not being able to make the decision of what they want their life to look like and what their death to look like.
mean?
So not all the time, but just going to like talking about death, end of life, is that there is options, right? There's options of having like MAID done or palliative sedation, how much pain medication you want, like what do you want your end of life to look like? And those are questions that we ask. And unfortunately, there's lots of times when maybe the children or maybe the partner husband doesn't want them to have the death that they want. And
Mm.
so I've had women come in and maybe they are just done and they want to have MAID or they want to have palliative sedation and their family doesn't want them to. And that's understandable. But it's hard when it's like they choose not to have the death that they want because they're so used to serving in their families.
Oh, just self-abandonment right to the
Yeah.
end. People
Yeah.
pleasing.
Right to the fucking end. Right to the end of like them taking their last breath is choosing pushing what they want their last moment in life to look like to appease their husband, partner, children, friends.
Mm.
And you
And I
see it in women
daily.
daily. You know, we are playing small. We are keeping our mouth shut. We're not ruffling any feathers. Um, and the biggest, like, it's just, I want women to understand is that, like, this is all that you get, regardless of what you believe happens after life. This is your one chance. This is when your one opportunity.
Yeah.
Why would you live a life where then you're about to take your last breath and you're like, fuck, I wish I did this. I wish I fucking lived for myself. I wish I didn't play so fucking small. I wish that I like lived in a life of abundance instead of being so fucking scared of like X, Y, and Z. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, we were put on this earth to do that.
the perspective of like looking back at like, I'll take a transition that I'm in right now with stepping into business coaching and like, Jane, I resisted this shit for like 8 months.
Mhm.
8 months I
Yeah.
resisted it. I had this calling, this purpose, and I sat in this fear of like, but what if they talk? What if this happens? What if I'm fucking terrible at it? What if? And it's like getting to my deathbed, if I had never done this, being like, what if it was your life's purpose? What if it was everything that you wanted? What if you impacted hundreds of thousands of people? But we don't like when we're in those things in our life, like we don't look at the amazing what ifs, we look at the fear. And even the fear seems so fucking trivial when you say it like that. Like, oh, what if people talk about me? Okay. Okay. What if they fucking do? Because if they do, they already are.
Exactly.
It's
And
that
I
simple.
said to you, and what did I say to you? I said, Ashley, when you are on your deathbed and you're about to take your last breath, you're going to fucking regret not doing this and you're going to hate yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to hate yourself for not doing what you are made to be doing, what you
Jane,
came to this earth, why you're here, your sole purpose. You're
yeah, I've
gonna,
never
I know
said
you. You're gonna be like, this is bullshit.
I should have done it.
I
But
should have fucking done it,
it is
and it's
hard to do
that,
those
yeah.
things. But I think a really, really incredible life skill is when things feel hard, that's where people back out. That's where they pull out and they're like, whoop, 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 reverse back to my comfort zone. And the skill of being like, this is hard, I'm leaning in, right? Because like it's always on the other side of that squeeze that that amazing thing happens.
Oh,
And
every time,
every time. And it's
every single time. Like you can't tell me a time that it doesn't.
and like it's the hard part that shapes you into who you need to become to carry that thing. But just hearing it being like, man, I was too afraid. And you like at your death, there's nothing that you wouldn't do to go back and fix that.
Totally.
Yeah. So man, I hope that woke up every woman who's like, holy shit, I'm self-sacrificing for everybody and I am living in fear. So the next one that kind of plays off of that is because like people do have those regrets when they're dying is do you see a difference in people when they die and they're like at peace with their life and they really like went after everything and people who die angry or afraid or full of regret? Is there like a big difference in their energy as they're going through that process?
100%. But it's you can tell it by the room. You can
Mhm.
feel, Ashley, you can feel the
Oh,
fucking
goosebumps to that.
energy. Yeah. You can feel the energy. And I shit you not, like I'm not like you feel it the moment you walk into the room. And
Wow.
it's their vibration, it's their energy. And it's not just their energy, it's everyone else's energy around them, their loved ones, their family members, whether there's anyone in the room or there's nobody in the room. Right.
Wow.
And so when it's just the reality of life. There's going to be people that you walk into those rooms and you meet those patients for the very first time, and you can tell by their expression, by their energy, by their family's energy, just the, uh, this energetic vibration in the room. If that person was an incredible human being who lived their life, that had adventures, that were so happy and at peace with where they were at that time. And then you walk into other rooms and they may be alone because they've pushed everyone out of their lives. Not they're so broken themselves their entire life that now they're alone at the end of life. Or there's family dynamics and there's family drama and there is just fucking shit. Like really what it comes down to is just like, and so when we see like end of life, so we see that perspective, right? You walk into a room and you have this like very energetic, like incredible energy rooms where there's love and there's passion and there's memories shared and there's like it's just a different like aura. And you walk into other rooms and that it's not there, unfortunately. And so then we see end of life, what that looks like. That person that had that abundance, like that abundant life, is surrounded by love. And so what's really cool is that all of our beds at hospice, expand out into cuddle beds. And so
Oh,
people can come and cuddle. Yeah, it's, trust me, babes will crawl into bed with their grandmas, and like kids will crawl into bed with their, their loved ones.
you're gonna take me
And
down this episode so early. Dang it.
and so when it comes to when for them to take their last breath, it's we try to make every death as peaceful as we possibly can. Um, and there's it, they pass, and they pass peacefully. And then there's ones that hold on, and there's, I always say sometimes we'll see patients get like a little bit like restless, and not of end of life restlessness, but just a little bit like making facial expressions. And I just share with their family members or whoever's in the room is like they're probably processing.
Yeah.
Like they know that they're dying.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know that. It's not like they're oblivious to it. And yes, may be semi-responsive or non-responsive, but they're processing shit. They're working through shit in their head. They're going through trauma. They're going through relationships. They're going through the what ifs.
Yeah.
And they get like scrunchy face, and they get like grabbing onto the handrail, onto the side rails, and get a little bit tense, and you can see that. And so there is a huge difference of like you, and that's what I want to say is that like you get to fucking choose.
Yeah.
Which one do you fucking want? Like which one do you want? Do you
Yeah.
want
No,
to be
I know.
alone?
I know what I want. That room would better be
Right?
so packed. The nurses are like, listen, it's only 50 people at a time,
I know.
and
And
like,
yes, we love that. We love when it's like a party in the room, and you can drink, because you can drink inside the rooms and have drink like alcohol or food, and like there's other places within the building that we can take you out to, and it's just like it's stunning, and like have a party, and like so there's
I
room for
want
that.
that. I
Yeah,
want that actual like celebration of life because my life was something to be celebrated.
exactly. And people surrounding you and sharing. Like my favorite is when I walk into a room and my patients' loved ones share stories of who they were, all the adventures they did, the crazy things that they did. Oh my God, like so many funny stories, and like lived their fucking life.
This is the hardest episode to do, man, today. I am just like on the verge of tears. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably like, okay, is Ashley okay? She's not. Would you say like from people, does death amplify fear or take it away?
Take it away.
Takes it away. Okay.
Okay. So I can say, I don't think there's something that it's just the most remarkable thing. And I don't know what it is, but I'll just explain it the best I possibly can from what I see. I don't see people scared at end of life. Like when they're actually actively dying,
I think that's
I
so,
rarely see fear. But like what the crazy thing is that we fear death every
yes.
single day,
Yeah, it's like
right?
we're all out there like death seems like really scary, but when you see it every day and you're like, they're not afraid in it.
No, no. I honestly like maybe I'll just throw in maybe a couple just to like, because I don't want to say 100%, but I'll just say a couple maybe looked at, like seemed scared or worried. No, the rest of them, there's peace that comes there.
Right.
And I can't, and I don't know how to explain it, but like there has to be, Ash, there has to be this peace that comes over us when we get to end of life, because I have not once seen anyone terrified to take their last breath. And
Wow.
I won't even speak to like those that choose to have MAID done. Like MAID is the, assisted death.
Yeah.
Not one person has been like, well, never mind, no, I don't want to do that, or I'm scared, or I don't want to do this, or like they are so at peace when they make that decision. Typically they pick the day and they pick the time. Isn't that wild? And
That's,
they're so at peace with it that they're like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
I mean, like,
Something, and so I feel like something must trigger in our brains when we get to the point where we're like, I'm good.
I feel like that's with me now, like as I've gotten a lot more into spirituality and like a very close relationship with God. And I'm not going to say religion because I'm not religious,
Yeah.
but that I know that peace. I felt it in breath work. I know the peace that you feel. And like, do I want to die? No, I have so much to do here, but I also know that like I would be good. So I feel like I understand that, but it's hard because I hear so many people like their biggest fear is death. it
Yeah.
is around. Like I was talking with a girlfriend the other day and she's like, I think about death every day. Like it scares the shit out of me. And I was like, I never think about it.
Tell her to come chat with me.
Yeah, I'm like, come send this podcast episode right to her.
Yeah,
But
I can. Yeah, it's honestly, it's the most remarkable thing that I've ever seen is that when one people when they are actively dying don't exhibit any sense of fear,
yeah,
and especially, which is even more surprising, when they choose to have MAID done, is that
you choose the
they're so at peace with it, and like how powerful that is that they get to make that decision for themselves and say, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to take control and I'm going to have this done. Let's
yeah.
go.
And like, man, to everyone who's listening, if you have that experience with a family and they choose that, for the love of God, honor their request. Like,
Please,
don't.
please. It's not your life. This is their life. This is how they want to give it to them. Just give that to them. Give them that permission.
So, with the spirituality aspect, have you seen people like reconcile with themselves spiritually in ways that they couldn't while they were alive? Like maybe they weren't present enough to, and now in these moments of solitude and just full presence, they kind of have like spiritual realizations or like,
I think that kind of coincides with like what we were just sharing. And I think that it's the peace that comes. Their whole life they've lived in this, um, possibly like high trauma, dramatic life where they are, don't know who they truly are or just haven't lived their life to their, what they've wanted to, stayed in relationships that they shouldn't have, stayed in jobs that they shouldn't have, didn't create those boundaries and no sense of any like spirituality within themselves, have never taken the time to discover that and look what that looks like. And I love that you shared, like, you believe in God, you have this connection with God in this spiritual realm, but not necessarily religion. And
religion
I
is just a confine.
was that
Religion is just a confine. It's just they tried to put the
yeah.
rules and the regulations around God. And we don't need that to have connection to God, it turns out.
And what I see is that like people, when they open themselves up to spirituality and just their, whatever beliefs, is like there's just a sense of calmness and peace and gratitude and just appreciation. And you can, and it's just energy. Like it just really is. So like if anyone's like, oh, I don't know what you understand about energy, like what are you talking about energy? Like fucking come like shadow shift it with me. Like you feel the energy, you can feel the vibrations, like people's, yeah, it's
That's
incredible.
I talk so much about presence with yourself, about meditation, about breath work. 'Cause it's like we go through life so fast paced, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember I'm like, I used to be in a constant state of reactivity to my life. I just kind of
Yeah.
reacted to what happened in my day, and there was no actual intention, slowness, presence, stillness with myself. And you get that energy shift, right? Like you can feel it when your nervous
Yeah.
system is like fight or flight and you're go, 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 and you're stressed out. And I know for some people, I'm like, when I'm coaching them, I'm like, hey, stillness is a practice that we do here. And they can't even do 5 minutes stillness alone by themselves. And it's like, that's because we are so disconnected from ourselves and we are so not used to having to like go internal for things, right? Like where now I'll reset my energy by being still, be like, oh, it's just frantic. I need to just go inwards.
Yeah.
But that is not what society shapes us to be. They thrive on
Exactly.
us being disconnected. So it's funny that you see it so much at end of life when they're like, they have to be alone. They have to be present with themselves, with their diagnosis, with the situation. It's like, for the love of God, please do this before you're forced to do it.
100%. Like you're going to wait until you have a diagnosis of like a terminal illness to wake the fuck up. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that now and live where you have that connection with yourself, um, and have that peace so that
Mhm.
you can enjoy this?
But there's also so much clarity in it. So even like I'm guilty of it when I'm going through those growth phases and I'm overthinking and I'm in anxiety and I'm trying to control and barter and all the things. And it's like, Ash, if you just honestly shut the fuck up for a minute and
Right?
went inside, that is where your peace is. That is where your certainty is. That is where your faith is. So stop like trying to control it. Stop trying to like be the driver of everything, right? Because so many people are like, oh, I struggle with creativity and I struggle with, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could do that. And it's like, you do know. You're just not going inside where the knowing is.
Well, and because people are scared to do that because they're uncertain of what they'll find. And they
Yeah,
don't want the reality of facing that.
I was talking to my husband about this because I was talking to him about breath work, and breath work is scary when you don't do it. That's like people are like,
I just did breath work, was it last week, on a day shift at hospice. It was given to us. Don't recommend. Don't recommend that. Don't do it when you don't have like don't sob with your coworkers and then have to go back out onto the floor and take
oh,
their
I can't
infusion.
even imagine. We do breath work in our coaching
I was like,
container.
I don't think I should have done that. I was actually going to message you.
Oh, that's too much. But I was like telling my husband because I was trying to explain it. He wasn't raised spiritually, and I was. My spiritual door is very much open even before I got into this kind of work. And I was like explaining, I'm like, well, we only use 5% of our conscious brain. So 95% is our subconscious, and that drives everything, right? It's the same
Yeah,
way it's like when you were driving somewhere and you know when you like snap to and you're like, man, I do not remember driving here.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. That's not just me. I'm like, that's so dangerous.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
subconsciously, I just go because that's the way that I'm going. And I'm like, breath work and like this going inside internal is like opening the door of your like the attic of your subconscious to be like, what do you want to show me? What piece needs to come out? What information can you give me about myself? And it is safe. And it might be hard sometimes. I've had repressed memories come up. They are not easy, but it's just, it's in you, it's stored in you. And you know this better than anybody. That shit will turn into disease.
Well, and I was just going to say the number one cause of disease is stress. And
Mhm.
it's not necessarily our stress of our job, our relationships, our environment. It's the stress that we put on our bodies with holding on to trauma, not getting in tune with who we are as human beings, how we live our lifestyle, like are the foods that we eat, the movement that we do. It's all that is the stress that is the number one cause of disease,
And like,
not the nonsense out here. It's in the stress that is in here.
and
Yeah,
disease, like when you literally look at the word, it is dis-ease.
exactly.
Your body is it's at dis-ease and it's storing
Exactly.
all of that. And like, I've had a massage before where actually recently where she pushed on my pelvis and I started bawling and I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah.
And
Every time I do breath work, I go to my C-section scar and I go to like
Mhm.
my uterus.
Yep.
And
And
that's
I
where
have birth trauma.
I have trauma. I have birth trauma. I had two very traumatic C-section births and afterward shit. And that's where, obviously that's coming up. And like, I would have never realized that was what I was internally struggling with unless I did the breath work and realized
Right?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, your fascia stores trauma. So and it was funny because it was like she was cradling my pelvis in a way where no one had ever touched it like that. Like it was so loving.
But
It was so healing that I was
yeah.
like, what the fuck is going on right now? I am so emotional all of a sudden. But I'm sitting there being like, Ash, your body stores the trauma. Your body stores all of the stories, all of the emotions and the lived experiences you've had. And so when that gets stored in your subconscious and you don't ever go in there to open it,
Yeah.
then it's like you don't know it. So I always say, I'm just like, trust your body. Don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of your breath. Don't be scared of your body because that shit's coming to you somewhere down the
Well, at
road.
some point, like if you don't do it now, like you don't want to be like, about to take your last breath, then fucking have to deal with it then.
Yeah,
Like that's not a peaceful death.
no.
That's not a
Okay.
peaceful death.
I've got a hard question for you now. What is one like last dying statement that someone's made that is a core memory for you, where it like throat punched you and you were like, oh my God. Like, have you had an experience where someone said something and you're like, oh shit?
I think I honestly feel like it actually has come from the family, like from a daughter.
Mm.
And oof.
I knew I was going to get you with this one. I'm so sorry. Wait until we were like right almost done.
um, I mean, it's just like a synopsis of this entire podcast where she's just like, you know, my mom never lived for herself. She always took care of us. She always took care of everybody else. She never took care of herself. And that was her daughter's true belief of why her mother was actually dying so early in life. And her daughter had a lot of guilt because she felt like her mom didn't live her life to the fullest because of her,
Yeah.
because she was so busy looking after her
Yeah. And I
instead
think
of herself.
with my daughters, and like you have a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
where when I was, going back and thinking,
And also, too, your oldest is a daughter, and my oldest is a daughter. And I think there's something about the oldest daughter.
yeah,
I think there's actually research behind that too. And that would be interesting to talk about somebody who can relate to that because you're not the oldest daughter.
no, but man, do I know my oldest sister's lived experiences.
Ditto.
I hope.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was thinking back to like when I was trying to convince myself to just settle and just like, Ashley, just make your fucking peace. This is the hand you were dealt in life. Sit the fuck down and just
Imagine that.
your cards. And now looking back, I'm like, the number one thing that has come out of this growth journey is the mother that I've become for
Yeah.
my. And I heard a quote actually this morning in a song that said, who we become through our growth journeys is who our children inherit. Woof. Didn't think I was going to get through that. But I was like, that punched me in the throat. Like, who we choose to become through the hardship in our life, our children inherit. And I was like, I would never want my children to inherit sitting on the side of their fucking bed, telling them to just settle in their life and they get what they get in life and they cannot reach for more. And I'm like, if I hadn't leaned into the hard, my children would have inherited that mother.
Right.
And instead they get this one.
And you broke the cycle, right? And you broke that. And like that's the thing is that women don't understand that they have way more control over their life and how their life is going to turn out than they fucking think that they do.
And I had no
You,
control at that time,
yeah.
right? Like, there was no
Yeah.
money. I was full-time
No.
single default parenting. I was bartending on the weekends because that was the time I had. I didn't trust my car not to break down. Like, there was no safety in my vehicle. And I was like a victim at that point. I was like, life is happening to me. Life is happening to me. And it's like, no, it fucking isn't. You
Yeah.
are allowing it to happen.
Exactly.
You are allowing that to happen.
Yeah. And I see women do that. And like, it's like the one thing that literally breaks me is that you have that choice. You have to choose whether you're willing to step out of fear. Are you willing to do the hard stuff so that you can reprogram your own brain and then show your children what's actually possible? Live a life full of abundance and purpose and like without the foggy fucking lenses on us.
Yeah.
So
It's like, are
that
you
when
fighting for life or not?
so when you come to taking your last fucking breath, the people around you are sharing the most utmost incredible stories about you, that you have so much peace, that there's not a single bit of fear in you as you transition out of this life.
Yeah.
Like that is, and I feel like people have forgotten that, like, that's what this whole fucking purpose of being on this planet and having this life that you were given is about. They're
100%.
just so fucking worried about like what people are gonna think of me. And like I gotta go to do this Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 job that I fucking hate that's so sucking the life out of me. Like, come on, like wake the fuck up. Like there is so much more.
When I hear people talking about that, like they'll make like mundane conversation.
Oh,
I have a goal this month where I set an intention to have intentional conversations with people I randomly interact with in my day. And I was like, I am going to have human interactions on a soul level with people. And
yeah.
it goes from like, I bought a bottle of wine. She was like, hey, how's your day? And the door beeped. And I was like, man, how many times do you listen to that door beep every day? It's like, oh, I haven't even noticed it. They just changed. And we had this. And immediately, as I asked her something intentional, her whole light changed, her
Yeah,
frequency. And I hear these people and they're just like, oh, just working for Friday, just working for Friday. And I'm like, no to this.
yeah,
Like, yes, you do have to do things to get by sometimes. There are things that you have to do, seasons of sacrifice, but like there will be struggle in your life regardless. That is just, there just will be. And it's like, what do you want to struggle for? Because for me, I'm like, I
Totally.
struggled to stay poor, to stay a victim, to be at the mercy of other people, to be convenient for other people. And I have struggled to build a business, to fucking quadruple my income, to look after my family, to grow as a mother. And it's like they both were struggle, but like where there is effort, like hardship creates ease,
Yeah.
and ease
100%.
will also create hardship,
I
right?
love that.
If
Yeah,
you
so
live a
true.
life of ease to be like, no, this is where I'm comfortable, you're going to have hardship. And you live a life of hardship and you struggle for the life that you want, you're going to end up with ease.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about like spirituality and woo-woo, because you know your girl loves it, I'm like, oh, is there a ghost? Tell me. Um,
Oh, wait, oh, there's ghosts.
yeah, like yes, yes. Tell me, like, tell me about that experience. Like, do you hear
Yeah.
people like see things or say like they're talking to people? Like, tell me,
It's
tell me
okay.
the gist.
So my background as far as spirituality goes is that I wasn't raised with any spirituality, no religion, nothing spirituality or anything like that was never, death wasn't a conversation in my household. And so my beliefs have been formed by my lived experiences. And so I can say with every inch of my soul that there is something other than this planet, this earth, this, whatever you want to call this
Yeah.
life out there. I have seen proof that there is some sort of afterlife, there is some sort of spirituality, there is some, spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call it. Um, uh, it exists, right? It's not just you die and then it goes black. I
I
don't
just
believe
want to take
that.
a second to be like, babe, husband, if you're listening to this episode, I told you so. I told you so. It wasn't me doing the lights or turning on the dryer randomly or slamming the doors, okay? Ghost.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Well, and you know what? I would have to say my first experience with this was when my dad actually passed away and he came back, I feel like, as a crow because he wouldn't come back as an eagle because eagle is way too elegant and like pristine for my father. He would come back as a garbage eating crow. 100%. I love you, dad. I love you. And I would have this crow like
It's fine.
follow me around when I would go for a walk with my kids when I lived in Maple Ridge. And this, and it's not, I mean, there's fucking crows all over the place. It's not like every time I see a crow, I think of my father, but there's times where I'm like, I see you, like you get a feeling.
So weird because I was on a walk this morning, sunrise at the water, and I'm like looking at the sun. I'm like, whoa, this is a crazy sunrise. And a crow lands on the lamp pole next to me, and it just looks at me and kind of does like a cocks its head, like I was like, feels like you have a soul in you.
Yeah.
And like I was like, that's a weird
Probably,
vibe from the
yeah,
crow.
it's probably Jim just coming to check you out.
I was like, and I had this moment with this crow, and I was like, you don't feel like a normal crow. That's cool. Okay, have a good day.
Right. And it's like, right, there's like just moments where I'm like, okay. But getting back to like end of life, like I see the most beautiful things where I see people like the reach, which is very common. It's very much like, I guess I don't want to say well known or talked about, but
I've
you
never
see
heard of that.
people, oh yeah, and probably because I'm like in the, death and
Maybe because
dying
that really common
industry.
the reach thing. We're all like, no.
Okay, so oftentimes when I see people, about to pass, they'll have moments where they will be very clear. They're all of a sudden their eyes will open, and a moment of clarity. They don't see you. It's like they see right past you, and
Yeah.
they see something, but it's not the room.
Whoa.
And they start to reach out into, in above them, and they're reaching and they're looking. And
Well,
it's
baby, see what I have
beautiful
right now?
because it's who knows what they're reaching for, whether it's a loved one that's passed or their God or the light or whatever it is, but they're reaching and it's intentional and
Wow.
it's something powerful enough for them to go from not moving at all to being able to raise their hand up and do a reach.
Wow.
I've seen where people will have like there's something that's end of life restlessness where they get, this burst of energy. During these times, either they can be they can be very in a lot of distress or and very like unnerving movements. But also times there can be times where they are have this burst of energy and they sit up and they start talking about like, oh, where's Bob? I was just with Bob, like this lady's husband that passed away like years ago, and where's Bob? Like he was just here, and they're like, oh, he passed away. She's no, like they're and this because there's these there must be these connections where when we are about to die, we connect to another world, another place, and you connect with loved ones. And I'm not saying that everyone goes through this, but I have witnessed it where they're like, or they'll be like, Mom, Mom, like they'll shout for their mom. Or they're like, I just saw so and so. And it's like their loved one that's already passed. And it just like, it's, there's so much beauty in that because I love that we don't know. Like it's not backed by science. There's not a peer reviewed journal article. It hasn't been fucking studied. It's us just being fucking human beings and death being a natural part of this life that we live that we're so terrified and we avoid so much. We avoid it more than anything in our lives while we're living.
And you put yourself in it every day.
But then when we get to it, it's like a whole nother experience. You know, because it's remarkable and it's something that is just like it's proof that it's not just this, that life isn't just what we see here and today and now. There's more. There has to be more.
I fucking know
It's,
that. I'll tell you for free right now, there is more because, man,
yeah.
spiritual realm, physical realm, those two whoop, go like this.
Well, you can't just have, like I say to my kids, I talk very openly with my kids about death. And my son, I've shared before, has a very beautiful aspect on life where, you know, he believes that after we pass, we turn into a new soul and we get to do the whole life thing all over again. He actually said to me today or the other day, he's like, you know, Mom, I chose you to be my mother because I watched you, how good of a mom you were with, God, I miss your friend.
I can't even,
How,
I trust kids with my life because they are
right?
closest to the other side. They are
So
close.
he, 100%. And so
Yeah.
he said he saw how good of a mother I was to Layla and that I seemed like his type. His type. I was
We always
his
feel
type.
like how we chose our journeys and we choose our parents
Yeah.
and we choose. And as we're adults, we're like, no, there's no way. It's just random. It's just this. But I'm like, I would back that choice 1,000 times over
Yeah.
again. Like, yes to that. And, like, I know that my kids were given to me for a reason. Like, they
Oh,
me. So
yeah.
whenever I'm like, I have almost like I want to call it survivor's guilt for like leaving their dad and leaving them with the consequences of my actions, if I can be so bold, where
Yeah.
they have to deal with things that I was able to walk away from and I get to like teach them through that. But I also have to stop myself and be like, this is their journey and their journey isn't an accident. And I can't control it or manipulate it to make it easier or change it for them because it was chosen for them.
Exactly. And like that's what sometimes we forget as mothers is that this is their own life and their own life experience. And yes, we have control over that in some capacity, but at the same time, we have to realize that they're their own little souls inside their own little tiny bodies.
I mean,
And
mine aren't so tiny. Mine are looking down at me at this point. But like when my son said that, I'm like, your son, just so you know, might be a bit of a spiritual baddie. Like
yeah,
he,
yeah,
he might have
yeah,
that insight if he still has that. Because
yeah.
I know
It's
my dad,
beautiful.
it is. It's amazing.
And then, you know, like, and one thing I say to my kids, because, you know, Layla is a little bit more linear and she'll be like, well, what if it's just all dark? I said, Layla, after death can't be darkness because how can it be so fucking beautiful and so incredible and then just be nothing? There's no way.
and like
I don't believe it. There's no way.
different types of dark. Dark can be good. It can be soft. It can be peace. It can be scary. It can be,
It's
right?
true.
Like so many different types of darkness. It can be suffocating. It can feel light. Like
Yeah.
darkness is only
Never.
your fear, right? Like the fear is what
Totally.
makes is what makes it scary. So
Yeah.
we're going to wrap this pretty quickly, but my last question to you is how has witnessing this daily and like experiencing so many people's deaths and their last words and their regrets, how has that shaped you? And I'm going to say shaped you recently because you're very different in this past year. So like how have you used this for your growth?
Well, I think the biggest piece of it is like given like for my own experience has just been given a permission. And I don't feel like it's, you know, it's unfortunate that I felt like I needed permission from somebody else, you, to break through that. But
You don't have to
it
say it's unfortunate because my literal purpose here is a permission giver. God was literally like, girlfriend, go give permission to women. And I was like,
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
on it.
And it's like, you know, like I'll forever thank you for that because it was just what I needed. And I don't think, you know, when I look back at our conversations, it wasn't, sometimes I don't feel like it was overly intentional from you. Like it wasn't like you, like it was just so natural, if that's the best way to explain it. But I think that I I started to look at my life and started surrounding myself with people who didn't play small and didn't buy into the bullshit of society and the nonsense. And it allowed me to kind of change maybe my lens on life,
Yeah.
layered on top of going to work and feeling so passionately connected to serving my clients, my patients at end of life. Like I feel like it's a complete privilege that I get to be there during their last breath. The
Okay,
most,
now
yeah,
punch. I want you to like punch the people listening in the throat as we go. Like you can finish that thought, but I want you to say the thing to them that they need to hear. They're on the other side of this podcast. They're driving in their car, they're going for a walk, they're cleaning their kitchen, whatever it is. And they're woken up a little bit right now. They're like, oh, fuck, man, Jaime, whew,
all right.
on the podcast. What do you have to say to them that's going to send them out of this episode with a fucking purpose and passion?
Every morning that you wake up and you don't receive a phone call with a diagnosis of a terminal illness, count yourself fucking lucky.
Woof.
Sorry, I wasn't done yet. I'm not done.
Go,
No.
pop off. Keep going. That
Yeah.
hit me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
think about that every morning now. Every morning I'm gonna think about
every
that.
fucking morning because people are so wrapped up in their own life and what they expectation. It's like everyone has this expectation that they and like this privilege and this like, you know, well, that, you know, I'm gonna live for the rest of like my whole life. Well, fuck, you don't know. Who the fuck do you think you are? Like you're fucking untouchable. Like you don't think that you're going to get a phone call one day that's going to literally rock your fucking world.
Yeah.
And like my 30, my 40, my 50-year olds, like shut the fuck up, okay? Because you think that you're untouchable because you're not 70, 80 years old. No, the phone call can come at any moment with a terminal illness, and you could be given weeks to days to months, whatever, to live.
Mhm.
So, why are you living your life like you've got another 40, 50, 60 years?
Yeah.
Like, what makes you so privileged that you think that you get to live that life just thinking that you're going to have, like, you're just going to live this long life? Like, bless if you do, but you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So, why care so much about what everybody else is doing?
Mhm.
May or may not be thinking. Like, wake up and like live, get to know who you are. Do the fucking work so that you can live your life and have fun and be unfiltered and just like be who you are. Not all the nonsense and the pretending and the fakeness and all the bullshit. Show up as who you are, live your life to the fullest, have no regrets, so that when you fucking get a diagnosis, you're like, okay, well, I chose to fucking live my life because that's okay now. Like
Yeah.
you just said, in breath work, you would be like, if you got a diagnosis, you've put in the work.
Yep.
Yes, it would fuck no, you don't want to die tomorrow. But if you were, you're like, okay, well, yeah, I can, I fucking shook up the world a little bit.
But do you know why I started to shake up the world? I actually never told anybody this before. Because my best friend died 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I have her hair color now.
Oh, I love that. What's her
And
name?
Elisa. And I won't go too far into this, but her death knocked me on my ass because it was like, 2 years ago, are you kidding me? She's 33 years old. That's
Yeah.
not that's not when you're dying. And I, I had also just accomplished a really big business milestone and I booked this ticket that ended up introducing me to I had no fucking clue what it was. I was so depressed. I was like, I have to do something with this. And I would just think, I'm like, she doesn't have the opportunity to do this. She doesn't have the opportunity to grow. And she always hated her fucking hair color. Now I wear it on my head every single day. I'm like, you hated your red hair? I got it now, girl. I got you. But like,
Yeah.
she doesn't get that opportunity anymore. And her death woke me up in life.
Mhm. But isn't it ironic that we have to have the death of like our best friend be the reason why we wake the fuck up?
It's so sad. But it was like,
Like,
yeah,
you
it just,
know,
I was like, oh, you don't know what's going to happen.
you
And
don't know. And it's like, and I will tell you, patients that are coming in, like, they're getting younger. They're getting younger. People younger are getting sick and very sick. And so if it's an ignorance to think that it's ignorant of you to think that you have this whole life to live or that you don't deserve to live a life of abundance, whatever that looks like for you, that you need to stay quiet because you don't want to like ruffle feathers and you don't want to, you know, reach those goals and dream those dreams. Like, no, this literally could be it today, tomorrow. Like, quit playing so fucking small and being so ignorant that you are going to live the next 40, 50, 60 years to sort your shit out. Sort your shit out now so you can live.
whew,
Like, fucking do the work. Like, quit playing being a victim, quit being fucking lazy and get to fucking work. I'm sorry, but like, fuck,
I'm
get
not
real.
sorry. You can see why I brought Jamie on this unfiltered podcast, right? Jamie has gone through this process of becoming an unfiltered woman, and her experience with being a hospice nurse just drives this passion where, she wants to scream at women to just wake the fuck up. So, if you guys want more of this daily, you need to go and follow her. I will have her Instagram handle written down in the caption of this podcast. Jamie, you can say it right now.
My handle,
Handle.
Jamie underscore your hormone girl. Um, yeah, come follow me. Come check it out.
Come and follow her. She gives really, really amazing advice and also like is a hormone queen. She just really cares for women's health and what they do with their lives. So, Jamie, thank you so much. I can
You girl.
confidently say you're coming back. You're coming back. We might need a quarterly Jamie lesson here because
Do
like
it.
we need
Wake
more
the fuck up.
unfiltered, loudmouth women in this world, and you are so gratefully one of them.
Oh, thank you, Ash. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys, we will see you next week.